Right then, let's talk about Diogo Dalot. Now, Dalot is a strange one. When he arrived in 2018 for 19 million, he was touted as a very promising fullback. However, he's only ever shown that in flashes, and to date, he's been more disappointing than he has been impressive in a United shirt. He's had some flashes. We've seen some really good crossing ability. We've occasionally seen some really good defending from him, but we haven't seen consistency. And we haven't really seen him come in and establish himself as a first choice or as a starter. The decision for him to go on loan to Milan in 2020 there sort of looked like probably a positive one. It was certainly an interesting one and maybe even a wise one. And despite what was a good loan spell and a small period where him and Tellers actually looked decent, I'm not sure it was just because Wan-Bissaka and Shaw were so poor, but they did actually look pretty good. Dalot had a season where he was average at best. What's interesting now is for the first time in his United career, Dalot is getting praise across all fronts. And he looks like he could have an opportunity to establish himself as Manchester United's first choice right back. His performances, particularly in attack, over the last 3 games have been legitimately, quantifiably impressive. The question is, though, can Dalot become Manchester United's #1 right back next season? So why is everyone raving? What is it that he's doing that have got people talking? Well, let's look into it. So he's been playing well on pre-season. One of the ones that has probably been above average across all 3 games, at least, I think. And he seems to be getting his confidence back in attack. He seems to know where to play the ball. The fact that he can play it early, that he is a good technical footballer, means that he is starting to look better than the sum of his parts because of the other people moving around him. As well as looking better in possession, Dalot's often found himself on the edge of opponent's box, receiving the ball to even make a cross or find a late runner, which is an invaluable asset. Against Palace, he had 56 touches with 88% pass accuracy and 11 out of 13 final third passes. You can't really argue with that. He's also been linking up really well with Sancho on the right, which has brought out a little bit of Sancho on pre-season tour, and he looks exciting. And I think the biggest thing that we're seeing with him is probably confidence. He's playing with a player that, or as a player that, isn't coming into an underperforming team. There's a fresh start, clean slate for everybody. That's a phrase you're going to hear lots of. He's not surrounded by the negative energy that we saw perhaps towards the back end of last season. It's seemingly having a very positive impact on everybody in the squad, this sort of positive uplift and hard-working sort of mentality that everybody's got in there. Dalot's going to look to get back to the level he was playing at Porto, which got him the move to United in the first place, why he was signed. To do that, you're going to need confidence. To get the confidence, you're going to need to be playing well, to be playing regularly. To be playing regularly, you're going to have to be playing well. It all feeds into each other. And there's a chance that an improvement in the energy from the new manager and the players around him and the standards that he brings are going to improve the vibe and the confidence of the players like Dalot, and this might have been what's happened on tour. Now, obviously, long may that continue. But how high is Diogo Dalot's ceiling? I think questioning it is justifiable. In his United career so far, he hasn't shown a lot to prove that he can be world-class. He's got competent written all over him, but world-class, I'm not sure about. In spite of that, though, he is still young, and he has now got a top-class coach in Ten Hag that could actually guide him into stardom. He does have a couple of really strong traits which could elevate him above the norm. I think Arsene Wenger said, at this level, everybody's a good footballer. You need to have something unique and freakishly good about you to be able to stand out amongst that crowd. It's no use just being a good footballer. You have to have something that you're an expert at, that you excel at, that's your thing. Players with potential, someone like maybe Foden, someone like that, he reached his level fairly early, I would say, in his development, probably because he's working alongside someone like Pep and he's got a very stable system around him. And that's the issue when you're working at a team or in a team and with managers where it's going wrong. They don't have as much time to spend on the individual development with the player. They're panicking, flapping, trying to get a result this weekend. Don't ever have a chance to relax and go, let's make these guys better now. And that brings the question of, if it isn't Dalot, who's going to be United's right back? Based on the current right backs at the club, I think Dalot starts, and I think we've seen that in pre-season. Despite being able to time a tackle perfectly, Wan-Bissaka is so poor going forward, I think it's obvious. his ceiling in regards to being an in-possession player is not high enough for Ten Hag. And United could look to sign another right-back. I did a scout report on one the other day, worth checking out if you've not seen it already. There hasn't been a lot of links, even though there's been a little bit of talk. Not a lot of links. Like, there's been a little bit of a sniff, but nothing concrete. Dumfries looks like it could have been serious. Timber, maybe. But I don't think you get another player out of Ajax. Pavard, Michele's obviously looks like he's going to PSG now. The names that have been thrown around have been wishy-washy. There doesn't seem to have been any sort of concrete, permanent sort of conversation like we've just seen sort of happen very quickly with Malacia, less quick with Martinez. But the talk just isn't there. Unless something develops later in the window, I'm not sure United will get the opportunity to sign another right-back. It might have been the case at one point that we wanted to do that. I think Cristiano's decision that he wants to leave United is probably going to force our hand into bringing in a striker first rather than bringing in a right-back. But should we sign someone else? Should he or Laird or Williams or even Wan-Bissaka be given the opportunity to start the season and see how they get on? Or do you think it's bad enough that we desperately need to be bringing somebody in for the start of the season? Who do you think would be good enough? Do you think Dalot could be good enough? Would you give him the opportunity? And who do you see being United's right back this time next year? Malo Gusto's someone I'd like to see United go and put something into. But are they going to? Or are we going to have to wait a little bit until we find out exactly what's going on with Cristiano Ronaldo, what's going on with any potential striker replacement, or if Ten Hag sees one of the issues as being the team's inability to play out and hold on to leads, and maybe he prioritises the defence. Well, that's what I think on Diogo Dalot. You guys let me know in the comments. I'll see you in the next one.
Real fan ownership, real fan input, real fan change, real fan power. 50 plus 1, we can go better than that. 100 plus none. Download our app, view the free content, read about the club, that's fine. But if you want more, become a member. To vote, to go behind the scenes, to make an impact, interact with a global community around the world, influencing how we grow, where we play, club ethics and values. The more members we have, the faster we grow. Support the club, run the club, own the club. This is ours and no one will take it away. The future is in all our hands.